Well, the countdown is on until the end of the season when the trophies are handed out. And in Spain, Shaka, the league leaders, Barcelona, are in cup action against their nearest challengers, Real Madrid, this week. It's the first leg of the Copa del Rey semi-final. Second leg's not played until April. And as far as Barcelona are concerned, they're not complaining about that because that should give them plenty of time for a lot of their injured players to get better. So they go into this first leg tie at the Santiago Bernabeu, struggling, especially in forward areas. Is it a damage limitation for them? Is it keep this tie alive to take home? Or do they still think and still believe they can go there and get a win that would put them in pole position for the second leg?
Listen, as much as the old cliche is, you take every single game as it comes, one at a time. It's your first leg of a three-leg series between these two, given everything at stake. But if you're Barcelona, you're looking at this, you're recognizing that you've lost your last two away games. You're going to the Bernabeu against Real Madrid, who themselves aren't playing great, but they've not lost at the Bernabeu this season, Real Madrid. So in that regard, if you come out there with a draw, you absolutely take that. If you offer Xavi a draw right now, you don't even bother to show up. You look forward to what's to come. But there's so much more at stake, always is, with the Clásico, regardless of what the competition that may be in, regardless of the personnel, emotions run high. So you go into this knowing what's to come. You go into this, if you're Barcelona, recognizing that you're coming up against European champions, that the last couple of seasons have not offered an awful lot. You're in pole position in the league. If you can win the Copa del Rey as well and knock out Real Madrid, are route to it, a lot of your struggles, a lot of your disappointments are maybe, I'm not sure, forgotten. I'm not sure whether to say they're put into context, kind of given the amount of levers that Barcelona had to pull at the start of the season to complete some of these signings. But it goes a very long way in terms of addressing some of the concern of the fans or that they've experienced over the last couple of seasons.
When the two sides met back in October at the same venue, Real Madrid were miles clear. But then the pendulum swung the other way after that game, and Barca really picked up, and Real Madrid faltered. And now Barca find themselves a long way ahead at the top of the table. However, they then went to Old Trafford last Thursday. They were beaten. They went to Almeria at the weekend, and they were beaten. Is the pendulum starting to perhaps swing back towards Real Madrid, or is this just a Barca blip?
I think this game, and not to just sit on the fence here, this game determines that. I think this is a game that Barcelona are looking forward to, arguably more than Real Madrid. And I say that because, as you put it, the pendulum clearly swung in Barcelona's favor. And you saw that in the Spanish Super Cup, where I thought they were just miles better than Real Madrid in an exact reverse of scoreline anyway from that earlier league meeting. But then Barcelona's performances have not been great at all. I thought they looked good. When Lewandowski was suspended, I thought Barcelona didn't play well, but they kept winning, albeit by a goal, but they kept winning. But Lewandowski came back in, the team started to play better, results were good, and now all of a sudden, this blip, if they get a result, it will make those last two results part of a blip. Real Madrid's issues, though, are a lot deeper. Real, I don't think have been playing well for quite some time. But then Real Madrid being Real Madrid, show up for the Champions League like nobody else, and albeit against a hapless Liverpool, give themselves a lot to believe in. That game, that performance apart, I think Real Madrid have been by far the more disappointing. So if Barcelona go to the Bernabeu, get a result, any kind of result, I think it's easier for them to dismiss the poor form they've shown over recent weeks as a blip.
But for Real Madrid, you could argue this is a more important game for them, given they're chasing Barca in the league. If they can get a statement win against an injury-riddled Barcelona side, they can only beat what's in front of them. If I'm Carlo Ancelotti, I'm saying, hey, remember what happened back in October?
Mm-hmm.
This, although it's the Copa del Rey and the second leg's not until April, this can be a kind of kick up the backside that you need to get your league campaign back on track. If you can prove with a statement win over Barcelona that you mean business.
Absolutely. If Real Madrid get a win here on the back of what happened at Liverpool, all of a sudden you're saying, listen, we, despite our struggles, despite our league position, despite what the table may say, we are a very good team, and we can turn this around in both domestically and in Europe. So Real Madrid need this. And let's be honest, it's not the first time in the last couple of seasons. It's not the first time in the last 12 months that we've just written Real Madrid off. And they continue to amaze in a way that few clubs in world football can. But for them to amaze us as neutrals, as outsiders, they've got to amaze themselves. They did so against Liverpool. They've got an opportunity against Barcelona. They have to make it count.
Where do Barca's goals come from in the absence of their main strikers?
I don't know, and I say that because I mentioned when Lewandowski was sent off and Barca had to do without his services back end of December, that they'd won, they'd even beaten Atletico Madrid, but always by a single goal, never really convincing. But if you're Xavi, you take that we didn't play well, we missed our most important player, but we still managed to pick up 9 points in the 3 league games that he was suspended for. Those goals were shared at the time. I think I'm right in saying Gavi and Pedri got one each. And to Fati coming, it's difficult to say where Barcelona get their goals from. Let's hope they don't have to resort, as we saw against Almeria, to throwing Araujo up front as some kind of a big target man. Let's hope that Barcelona, well, if things get desperate, maybe they will have to, but let's not hope that that's a first resort.
Finally, I want to get your prediction for this game. Now, bearing in mind it's a first leg, I always think it's harder to predict first leg ties, especially with Barca's injuries. But again, we don't know how they're going to approach this. If Real Madrid are going to go gung-ho, which is unlikely, it's probably going to be more cagey than the second leg, depending on the scoreline. So all that taken into account, what are you thinking for this one?
I'm thinking Real Madrid at home in a game that they absolutely need a result, that they need a performance. I'm going to go 2-1 for this first leg to Real Madrid.
That would set us up nicely for not only the second leg, but also the Clásico in the league that's coming up shortly as well. Full coverage of this Clásico right here on ESPN FC.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN Plus.